Hey, Lily Wong here, and this is Fly with Lily podcast. Life can throw us unexpected curveballs of all kinds, from the loss of a loved one, career change, or family problems. For me, it was the loss of my mother and my marriage. The worst experiences of my life led to the most euphoric learning experience and life journey I ever could have imagined. My journey let me dive within myself, overcome my fears, drop disempowering beliefs, and remove mental limitations. From motivation, language learning, business, nomadic life stories, or world travel, to just plain dropping your baggage. Fly with Lily podcast offers the inspiration you need to open yourself to this world of opportunities without limits. "20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did do." Hi, I'm Lily. Today, I want to share a story that changed my life. It begins in the spring of 2005. I was 22 years old. It was the second year after my mother had passed away. I had just returned to university to finish my degree. I had completed one semester, made it through a winter break. And if I had to describe how I felt at that time, I would say I was lost, but I desperately wanted to change. I was studying journalism, but I wasn't sure I wanted to work in media. I had a steady boyfriend, but something inside me quietly knew that wasn't the future I was walking towards. I feel like I was standing at a crossroads. I didn't know which direction to go, but I knew one thing. I didn't want to stay still. So that year, I threw myself into everything I could find. I studied English intensively. I read news articles in English every day. I entered singing competitions. I entered broadcasting contests. I was searching through every challenge I could find for some version of myself I hadn't met yet. And that year, I read a book by Li Xinping called Travel, Reinvent Yourself. It landed in me like a seed, quietly but deeply. I started asking, what if I left everything familiar? What if I went to see a bigger world? What if there were other possibilities for my life that I hadn't imagined yet? So I decided to give myself a gift, a trip abroad. My first time planning an extended stay overseas. I compared London and New York. In the end, I chose New York. The reason was completely shallow, but completely honest. I was obsessed with Sex and the City. I was in love with the New York in that show. Those women walking the streets of Manhattan, free, independent, bold. They all seemed to know what they wanted. 22-year-old me was the opposite. So I wanted to see that city with my own eyes. I wanted to find out whether that kind of life actually existed. My budget was limited. I had saved a little from tutoring English. There was no money for a study abroad program. No money for a travel agency. I researched everything myself. Flights, visas, accommodation, my first international ticket, my first US visa application, my first 5-week itinerary built entirely from scratch. It sounds ordinary now, but for 20-year-old me, every single step felt like an adventure. And then there was the housing, the craziest part of all. I didn't want to stay in a hotel. I didn't want a hostel either. I wanted to live the way a real New Yorker lived. So I did something that would make a lot of people nervous today. I posted an ad on Craigslist. If you are younger, you might not know Craigslist. It was like an early American classified ads website. People finding jobs, looking for roommates, selling furniture, renting out rooms. Some people even used it to search for love, for friendship, for a new direction in life. And me, I uploaded photos of myself and my university friend, wrote a short introduction, and told the world, we are journalism students from Taiwan, looking for someone willing to let us stay for 5 weeks. Looking back, it was a little crazy, but the internet in 2005 was completely different from today. There was no Airbnb, no Instagram, Facebook had just started. People were both cautious about strangers and genuinely curious about them. And I believed somewhere out there, someone would be curious about 2 university students from Taiwan. I was right. I sent nearly 80 emails. A few people wrote back. One of them was named Vincent, a reporter at the New York Post, who loved Asian cinema, loved Shu Qi, loved Fei Wang. Because we were both in journalism, I felt an inexplicable sense of connection. We chose him. Later, I realized if we hadn't both been willing to stay open to a stranger, this connection would never have happened. In a way, Craigslist became my first lesson in trust. It taught me the world has risks, but the world also has kindness. Before we left, my friend and I went to a public phone booth on Furen University campus to make an international call to New York. It was the first time I had ever used English to handle a real-life situation. Not the exam, not homework, not vocabulary drills, real conversations. My English was halting and imperfect. But when Vincent on the other end of the line understood what I meant, I felt something I had never felt in the classroom. Language isn't a test. Language is a key. It really can open another world. 18 hours later, we landed at Newark Airport in New Jersey. Vincent came to pick us up. I will never forget the first time I saw him. He looked a little like Colonel Sanders. He had a warm, genuine smile. He helped us with our luggage, held a cab, and took us back to his small apartment in the West Village of Manhattan. The most surprising thing, he gave us the largest room and moved himself into a small study to sleep on a single bed. Over the following 5 weeks, I slowly got to know this man who had changed my life. Vincent was divorced, living alone in Manhattan. He reported and wrote during the day, watched films at night, sometimes flew to film festivals around the world. His life was completely unlike any adult life I had known before. That was the first time I understood there are many ways to live. You don't have to follow the script society hands you. Those 5 weeks, I absorbed everything like a sponge. I went to Broadway, I watched Wang Jianming's pitch, I walked Fifth Avenue, I attended a Pride parade, I walked into a bar for the first time. I initiated conversations with strangers for the first time. I explored the world truly on my own for the first time. Of course, I often couldn't understand what people were saying. I felt frustrated. I felt stupid. But every time I broke through, my confidence grew a little more. I started daring to talk to strangers on the subway. I started embracing people from different cultures. I started believing I could live anywhere in the world. Through Vincent, I even got to see Maggie Cheung in person at the press screening for the film Clean. I heard his recorded interview with Zhang Ziyi. 22-year-old me thought, this person is just too cool. I remember on the flight to New York, I wrote a sentence in my notebook in English. I hope to open up more. I want to be more open, more genuine, more willing to embrace the world with courage. More than 20 years later, when I opened that notebook again, I realized that trip fulfilled that wish. It wasn't just a trip, it was a starting point. And after that, I worked harder at English. I was braver about pursuing international opportunities. I became more willing to step out of my comfort zone, more convinced that I could live a different kind of life. In the years and followed, I entered and re-entered the United States more than 10 times. For love, for work, for my business, for my podcast, for traveling the world. I met friends from every corner of the globe. I built a career and a way of life that's entirely on my own. And all of it traces back to that summer of 2005. To a 22-year-old girl with a little saving, a little English, and a mind full of curiosity, flying to New York, not knowing what would happen, but willing to go. Because that's how life often works. You don't move forward because you can see the path. You move forward and the path slowly appears. If you are standing at the crossroads today, maybe you don't need to know the answer right away. You just need to be willing to take one step forward, because that one step might just change your life. This is Lily, and if today's sharing resonates with you, I'd like to invite you to follow Fly with Lily or find me on Instagram at Fly with Lily. My first memoir is on its way, and I hope to put it in your hands soon to remind you. Sometimes all you need to do is to be willing to set out, and life will slowly unfold.
This has been another episode of the Fly with Lily podcast. So what now? Go to flywithlily.com to download my gift for you to help work on your abundant lifestyle, or contact me directly for a consultation. This show takes a lot of work and planning, so if you enjoyed it, please consider a 5-star review on iTunes, following on Facebook and Instagram at Fly with Lily, or come up and give our crew a hug on the street when you are on your journey. Thanks for listening, and remember, life's curveballs can be your best opportunities.